And the same thing happen every day. This is like routine. You hate your life. Why do you hate your life?
Not always, just sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay. Well, today we have this review grammar. Okay. Let's start with the past simple. Okay. When do we use the past simple? We use the past simple. Oh, sorry.
We talk about routines.
Past simple. Okay, we use the past simple when we want to talk about something that happened in the past and is completed. Okay? And is completed. For example, do you remember the rules?
It's completed.
I play soccer yesterday. That action is completed.
Yes.
Yes, of course. So we use a past simple when we want to talk about an action that is completed, is finished, and that's it. Do you remember the rules? For example, I play soccer in affirmative, negative. I did.
I didn't
play.
I didn't play soccer.
I didn't play soccer yesterday. An interrogative. What about interrogative? Did you play?
Did you play?
Did you play soccer yesterday? Do you remember the structure, or you want to check it out again?
Mejor hay que volverla a hacer.
Okay, the structure. So in the structure we have the affirmative structure. The affirmative, we use the subject, then we have the verb. But remember that the verb is in the past. Okay, in the past form. The verb is in the past. And then you have the object or the complement. In negative, it's kind of different because we have the subject plus the auxiliary plus not plus the verb. In this case, the verb is in the base form. Why, Carlos? Because we have an auxiliary. And what is the auxiliary, Carlos? The auxiliary is did. Okay? And last but not least, we have the question.
¿Eso aplica todo?
Yes, for every. I don't understand your question. The auxiliary? Yes, you have to use did. Are you with they, he, she, it? Of course.
I mean the pronoun, the pronouns, los pronombres.
Of course.
O sea, me refiero para todos.
For everyone. No, for everyone. Okay. Not just for he, for she. No, for everyone. For example, you have here I am sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ. I, you, we, they, he, she, and it. So are you a they? These are the subjects. Okay, these are the subjects. You have to add the verb in the past. Play soccer yesterday. So we have here I played soccer yesterday, you played soccer yesterday, we played soccer yesterday. What about negative? And the negative form is kind of similar because we just need to copy the subject. Where is it? Oh, sorry. Let me write this again. What is that? Just can I I, you, we, they, he, she, and it, of course. So we have the subject, are you a they, and then you have to include did. Not.
And then the not the place.
Yes, and of course you need to remember. Play, just play. Lol. Okay, remember that you can just use a contraction. You say?
Didn't.
I didn't. So probably you say, I did not play soccer, or I didn't play soccer. It didn't play soccer, or it did not play soccer. Okay? And the interrogative, now it's kind of better, right? Because you have to start with the auxiliary in the past, of course. and the auxiliary plus the subject plus the verb plus the object or complement plus the question mark. So what you have to do here is just to change the order. Like you have to write the subject here, then you have to write that here because this is the auxiliary, and then the verb in the base form, and that's it.
Okay.
You get it? Did you play soccer? Did we play soccer? Did we play soccer?
For questions, always the verb is in the base form.
Always. Of course, just remember in our first class we have when we have auxiliaries, we never use rules. So for example, in this case I have this. For example, she plays soccer. You don't have an auxiliary there, but in the negative you have doesn't. So that's the reason that you say she doesn't play soccer. In this case, you don't use a rule because you have the auxiliary. Here, you have to use a rule because you don't have one. Of course, in the negative, you have auxiliary here, and then you have auxiliary in negative and interrogative. So now, what you have to remember is just the verb in the past. The verb in the past. Do you remember?
Someone, not all, supongo que algunos.
Not all of them. Okay, I have a presentation.
I don't think so.
Okay, just the common ones. We're going to practice. So the verbs. Okay, so any questions about the structure? The structures are super simple, right?
No, that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Crystal clear.
Okay, the verbs can be divided into two groups. The verbs can be divided in regular and regular. Regular, yes. Irregular. When you have regular, it means that they follow rules. But irregulars, they do not. Okay, they don't follow rules. Okay, so that is the main difference. Irregular, irregulars. So let's complete here. We have the verb do. Do is irregular because do in the past is did. Do, did. Go, went. Irregular. And eat, ate.
At.
Irregular.
At.
And ring, rang. Irregular. So you just need to remember, you just need to learn them by heart. You need to learn them by heart, which means memorize. You need to learn them by heart. You need to memorize. Okay? There is a list. Well, there are tons of lists of verbs. You just need to practice like do, did, go, went, eat, ate. Okay?
Yes.
Yes. But what about the regulars? In the regular verbs, you have to follow some rules. The rules are pretty similar. If you find a verb that is not here in this list, in all probability, that verb is gonna be regular. Okay? If you find a verb and this verb is not in the list, the irregular verbs, you have to use the rules. So the first rule is that you need to add ed. For example, play, played. Cook, cooked. Rule number two. Rule number two is pretty similar to the present simple rule. When you have a consonant plus y, for example, study, so say, study it. Study it. You get it? For example, carry.
Consonant. Carried.
Carried. Rule number three. When you have a consonant vowel consonant, you need to double the consonant and add ed. For example, stop. So we have stopped. Okay? Did you understand? Sure?
Yes.
So that's great. So more or less we have just three rules, but because If we have, for example, a dance, which one are you gonna use? 1, 2, or 3? Of course, rule number 4.
One.
Yes, but if you want, you can create a new one. If the verb ends in E, you just need to add D. For example, dance. Dance.
Danced.
Simple like that. We have just 4 rules. Do you remember all of them, right?
Yes.
Well, now let's focus on pronunciation because this is the most difficult part in this lesson. Okay? As you can see here, if I'm speaking super fast, you can tell me, Carlos, could you speak slowly? I don't understand, and I want to understand a little better. As you can see here, all of the verbs, or most of the word that we have in English, ends in an ed, right? Yes?
Yes.
But people say, how can I pronounce better? I don't know how can I improve my pronunciation. Well, before we continue, and this is the most important lesson, and I explained that before, it's really important to recognize the sounds. Do you remember that the sounds can be divided into 2 groups? Do you remember?
Yes, vowel sound and vowels.
Voice.
Voice.
Voice sounds and unvoiced. Do you remember? Nope.
Yes.
Yes. For example, voice sounds can be L, R, M, and all vowels. All vowels. But unvoiced, do you remember one unvoiced sound? S,
P,
sh, ch. Okay, so now you remember a little better?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, well, in our first class, we learned about the plurals, right? So what you have to do is this, focus on this. So what you have to do is just to focus. This is voice, the previous sound. Voice or unvoiced?
Unvoiced?
No, because d, this is voiced. Okay? D. You have to put your hands here and then d, and then you feel a vibration here.
I'm talking about T.
D, yes. So, ¿qué pasaba cuando el sonido antes de la S era voiced? Se pronunciaba como Z. So we say, he reads the book. He reads the book. But then again, in the same way, you have keeps, yes, el sonido anterior. Keep, voice o unvoiced. Unvoiced se pronunciaba como S. Secret, antes tengo una T, se pronunciaba como S. ¿Cómo sería?
He keeps secrets.
He keeps secrets. No te olvides el último sonido. He keeps secrets. ¿Te diste cuenta how important is to know voice sounds and unvoiced sound? Because in this way, we can sound better. Okay? Es muy importante poder diferenciar estos sonidos, que ya los vimos en nuestra clase anterior. Es por eso que hoy es la siguiente parte. Carlos, why? Okay, so now let's continue here. In English, we have the ed sound, right? This, ed. Yes?
Yes.
Ed can be pronounced in 3 different ways. Every time you see ed, you have 3 options. Oh my goodness, which one I'm gonna use? Yes, this one. The first one. When the word ends in T or D. You know that T and D are like brother. He has a sister and a brother. For example, you pronounce in this case like it. For example, you have want, right? You need to add ed.
One.
So we say wanted. Wanted. But now you can use the rules. When you have an N-T in a vowel sound, you drop, you say?
Yes. Wanted.
Wanted. When you have decide, it would be?
Decided.
Decided. Okay, it's decided. But with fast speech, we say? Decided. In the same way you have need.
Needed.
Needed or needed. Okay, did you understand the first part, the first pronunciation? You just gotta focus on this letter T or D. Okay, now let me tell you that it can be pronounced like T and also like D. Okay, for me it's the same, but it's really important that you know that this is unvoiced and this is voiced. For example, pretty similar to the S. ¿Te acuerdas la S y la Z?
Yes.
Ya mira, cuando era voice es con Z, cuando eran voice con S. Cuando eran voice con T y cuando era voice con D. Veamos. Tengo look. ¿Cuál es el pasado de look? Le agrego ed. Ahora, ¿cuál de las dos pronunciaciones lleva? Me fijo, antes de la ed hay un sonido de K. ¿La K es voice o unvoiced? Unvoiced. Por lo tanto, esto se va a pronunciar como si fuera una T. Sería looked. Looked. Looked.
Looked.
Yes, but what about this one? Learn, le agrego ed. Me fijo antes de la ed que hay una N. Voice o unvoiced?
Voice.
¿Cómo de? Learn.
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 But Carlos,
Learn.
for me it's the same. It could be, but it's totally different. Focus on this part. Voy a pronunciar look con T y luego con D para que veas la diferencia, ¿ok? 3, 2. Looked. Looked. T. Ahora con D. Looked. Looked. Mi lengua
se queda como
queda arriba, trabada. Looked. Looked. So that is the difference, okay?
Okay.
Did you understand this rule?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So this is the past simple. So the new information for you is pronunciation. Any questions up to this point?
No.
No, right?
I just need to remember these rules.
Yes, we gotta practice rule. We're done. Look at this. We did this. We're done. Okay? No questions, right? And I have some examples. I think. Oh, let's continue. Because today we will learn past simple versus present perfect. Okay? Quiero saber si has entendido todo lo que es el past simple, si te has acordado, para poder practicar o si no para poder continuar ya con el presente perfecto. It's okay. Nice.
It's okay.
Well, now let's talk about the present perfect. Well, the present perfect is like his enemy or its enemy. The present perfect. We use the present perfect when we want to talk about an action that started in the past but goes on up to now. Okay? Look at this. We use the present perfect when we want to talk about an action that started in the past but goes on up to now. Carlos, I don't understand an action that happened in the past. This is not the past simple. Yeah, it's not the past simple. Okay? You got it? Okay, this is the main definition. An action that started in the past and continues up to now, to the present. For example, when I say I lost my keys, what does that mean in Spanish? I lost my keys.
Mis llaves.
Yo perdí mis llaves. ¿Cómo sería con presente perfecto? I have lost my keys, right? But what is the difference? Because in Spanish, they're the same. Well, we don't know when we can use one of them, but we say it. Okay. Cuando tú dices, I lost my keys, today is Friday. Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. Hoy estamos Friday y tú me dices, Carlos, I lost my keys. Probablemente, ¿cuándo se usa el past simple? ¿Te acuerdas? Cuando la acción. Entonces, por lo tanto, si tú me dices, yo perdí mis llaves, quiere decir que probablemente, escúchame, probablemente ya encontraste tus llaves o no, porque la acción se terminó. Pero si te digo, I have lost my keys, he perdido mis llaves, quiere decir que hasta ahora no lo encuentro. ¿Ok? Una de las principales diferencias es que tú siempre vas a saber. Vamos a hacer el versus de una vez porque ya. Voy a hacer un repaso un ratito de la estructura y luego ya vamos al versus, ¿ok? Ok, tenemos el structure. And the affirmative form, we have the subject, are you with he, she, it. Then you have the form of have. It could be has or have. And then you have the verb. But in this case, it's in the past participle plus the object or complement. For example, you you have here, are you a day? Words with have, and he, she, it with has. Then you need to include the verb in the past participle. For example, eaten. Carlos, what the hell is that? Remember that you have a list. You have eat, ate, eaten. You have, for example, do, did, done. So this is what you have to remember. There is a list. Okay? La gramática está muy sencilla, pero lo que tenemos que aprender son los verbos. Si no sabemos el verbo, vamos a tener problemas. ¿Ok? Entonces te voy a compartir un documento. Vamos a terminar ahorita la estructura. Ya sabes que el participio es la tercera fila. ¿Ok? En negativo, ¿qué le agrego él? Not. I have not eaten. He has not eaten. Y recuerda que también tenemos contracción. Hasn't. Acá tiene que ser haven't. Y hasn't. Y en interrogativo, intercambia el orden. Eso es todo. So let's practice. Voy a sacar algunas diapositivas para practicar un poquito. Te voy a compartir un archivo también. Okay, can you see my presentation, right? Can you see it? Vamos a hacer una serie de ejercicios primero y luego hacemos la comparación. For example, como digo, yo dormí en tu casa ayer.
I slept in your house yesterday.
I slept in your house yesterday. Yes, you got it. ¿Cómo sería en negativo?
I didn't sleep.
I didn't slept. Incorrect.
I didn't sleep.
I didn't sleep in your house yesterday. In question.
Did I sleep in your house yesterday?
Did I sleep in your house yesterday? It's okay. Did I sleep in your house yesterday? Great. Just remember that sleep in the past, sleep But in the past participle, it continues being sleep. Sorry, sleep, slept, slept. It's the same. Okay? In this case, you use the past. The past. What about this one? Yo he dormido en tu casa.
I have slept.
I have slept.
I have slept in your house.
In your house. Negative.
I do not.
I
have not slept in your house.
Okay.
I have not.
I haven't slept in your
house.
Question.
Have I slept in your house?
Have I slept in your house? Remember that you always use the participle form. This one. Okay? Next one. Cook. What is the past form of cook?
Cooked.
Cooked. The participle form? Cooked. Is the same. Todos los que son regulares en pasado seguirán siendo regulares en participio. ¿Cómo dirías con she? She
cooked.
She cooked estofado last night. She cooked estofado last night. Negativo.
She didn't cook estofado last night.
Question.
Did she cook estofado last night?
Easy peasy. Question. Ella ha cocinado estofado.
She has cooked estofado. She has cooked.
Negative.
She hasn't cooked estofado.
Question.
Has she cooked estofado?
That's perfect. Just remember, in this case, you use the second part, and this is you're using the participle form. Okay? Remember that when you work with he, she, it, you use has. But when you work with are you, they, you use have. Remember, when you have the auxiliary, you never use rules.
Yes.
So what you have to do is the most important part. You have to remember the verbs. Okay? And you can learn the verbs little by little. Puedes ir aprendiendo poco a poco mientras veamos ejemplos. ¿Qué es eso? Apostar. Bet. Apréndete. Bet, bet, bet. ¿Cómo se dice jugar? Play, play, play. Poco a poco, porque si te doy la lista, como te la acabo de dar, no creo que te sientes a memorizar. ¿Ok?
Probablemente una página por día no sea tan...
Yes, you can practice. Incluso puedes practicar con una canción. One second. Te la voy a compartir.